Fall season for the Power Esports Conference in Super Smash Bros. This week, our Boise State Broncos have been putting up a strong showing against the Minnesota Gophers. So far, a clean record of 3-0. However, this might be the biggest challenge yet of the week, as they are looking to face the third strongest Smash Bros team in the league, and the Broncos are checking up their sleeves for any tricks they can pull off tonight. Calling all the action, my name is Audrey Norris with Bryce, Jensen. We're so excited to be here with you as we get into this matchup. The PE season has been running strong for 6 weeks, and the teams are settling into place within the leaderboard, showcasing their skills and looking for opportunities to climb up the ranks. The Minnesota Gophers have held a strong record through this season, going 4-2, an overall positive win rate only contested by some of the strongest teams in the league, Nebraska and Michigan State, the only schools still undefeated. As the PEC heads towards the final stretch, the Golden Gophers present quite the challenge for our Broncos here. But in an attempt to educate the audience on the PEC and their schools, we started with a quick Q&A with our players about Minnesota. Jacob Palmer was our man on the street to see what our players knew about the Golden Gophers.
They weren't in the PEC last year.
No, this new edition.
Okay.
Considering I'm from the state, hopefully I get this.
How about here?
Michigan State. Is it Minnesota?
This was
you're so
Michigan
right.
State.
That is the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
I don't know what color Mississippi is, but I don't think it's Mississippi. Missouri, maybe.
Minnesota.
There you go. That's a good one. But
Okay.
where in Minnesota?
Like University of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Simple guess here.
is it just Minnesota?
Okay, not quite that simple. What's the big city in Minnesota?
There aren't big cities in Minnesota.
Minneapolis?
There you go. Yes, yes.
I always go, my favorite airport is the Minneapolis airport, so I always see the Golden Gophers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a loss here.
Okay, well, it's an M.
Thank you. That's good.
You know, as someone who struggles to put names to faces or names to logos, I don't really blame them for trying to figure out which of the M states that logo was. But as we get ready to jump into this matchup, the stakes have been set. For this week, this is the last chance that Minnesota has to take a win from the Broncos. And as we mentioned, they are the third strongest Super Smash Bros. Team in the PEC, but that doesn't just have precedence for this match, but the rest of the season, as the Broncos do need to look forward and see what they can make of these final couple matchups.
Yeah, the Broncos have really been on the up and up in the past few weeks over this season, adapting to several new team comps, some new characters, as well as new players in general. As we talked about at the really beginning of the season, we saw a really big switch up in the players on the Broncos team. Some losses of old members, some new incomers, and even regaining some new members as well. And the Broncos have shown that they have been able to adapt and overcome in a lot of these scenarios. We can't really just keep looking at the win rate. If we do go back and look at all of the games this season and piece them together, it really shows the growth that this team has had, and I think that is going to carry them into this next bit of the season, especially with only really 3 weeks remaining after this one going, and the scores carrying over into week 2.
And with all of that, not only just the matchups, but some of the changes in the format too can present an interesting challenge for not just the Broncos, but all players trying to adjust to that. So having this for a new season, getting ready to gear up into the next one, it's an exciting place to be as we see these final standings get ready to go. But if you are wanting to figure out all of those things, I think a big question too to ask is the format difference. And if you have a preference for this one or the previous one?
You know, if you were to ask me in the very beginning when we were still learning the format, I probably would have defaulted back to the crew battles. It's what we've known. It's what we've been doing for a year. It's what I got used to casting. However, getting to spend a little bit more time with the one-on-one format, the duel format, getting to spend a little bit more time watching the players, watching the strategies evolve, watching the picks and blind throw-ins, I would have to say that the duel format is much more consistent. It leads to a lot closer games. Games don't feel as one and done as they did a lot of the time in the
crew battle format. Yeah.
I don't know why it slipped my mind.
Hey,
But
that's just
yeah,
how much you love the duel system, is that you've completely wiped the name of the previous system
Yeah.
from your mind. And,
Yeah.
you know, in a way, I understand. I have been casting the crew battle format for years. It is ingrained into my brain. There is something really fun when your team is the one who has one player that wipes everyone else off the board. But at the same time,
It's so hard
not
to watch.
fun to be the person on the other
Yeah.
side of that. And to a point, I think it can be a really fun wow factor. But when you watch game after game after game after game of that, it is exhausting. And I love the breath of fresh air that the crew battle format being removed and the duel format being brought in has given an opportunity for. I would try to be like, oh, well, no, there's the positives of the crew battle, and there is. But I do agree with you that I feel for the opportunity for more players to shine, the duel format is a powerful way to do that.
Yeah, if it were up to me, I'm just going to use this little piece of felt as an example. If it were up to me, I would take it and I would just...
I don't know if anyone could see that on screen, but for those of you that might not be able to tell, Bryce just chucked that piece of felt off the stage. So that's where we're at. But we can talk all we want about, you know, the format itself, but the players are just as important as well as the characters they're going to be playing. And we are going to be jumping right into a matchup. Grishok looking to match up against Broncos Snake here.
I believe that this is actually Doug Todd, the Mario player on on Minnesota's team. Going up against
you're
our
right.
own Gophers.
Wait, I got confused by the green!
It's the green! It's like I was telling you, that one's still green! Even though he's supposed to be red, he's the wrong color. But good up special from Doug Todd is going to lead to the first KO of the match. Goki's really struggling to find any sort of in here as Doug is really just going at it. Mario is really good at getting those combos in, really good at finding a lot of that high damage. And Snake needs a little bit more time in order to set his stuff up, but once he does, it's really good, but he's not going to find it with a spike! Right off the edge. Mario has a ton of, like an absurd amount of spikes in his kit.
Yeah, and that is the danger of the kit, though, compared to some opponents Goki's has had in the past as Snake, not the most insurmountable here. However, if Doug Todd doesn't let them find that opportunity, Goki's is going to be in trouble here, able to avoid that ledge pressure that Goki's is trying to put on. But get grabbed in the middle and going back into the air. We saw how quick a knockout can come from that. And the Golden Gophers are going to come away in 3-0 for the first matchup.
Now, ladies and gentlemen at home, that is what we like to call a 0-to-death combo as Doug Todd completely shoved Snake into the dirt. I was not expecting it to go that quick. I know that the matchup doesn't really favor either character, since both of them are really good at getting the hits in, doing really good damage. However, Mario was just able to get right up into Snake's face, put Goki's on the back foot the entire game, not let him get the space he needs in order to get stuff done.
Yeah, the issue that Goki's is always going to run into is you need that space for those projectiles. You need to be able to put them down and let them just sit there. But Mario is a very mobile character, not the most mobile character in the game, but kind of a versatile all-rounder, and that just makes it hard to find a weakness. He's pretty strong in a lot of areas with not just like any, oh, I'm so good at this, I really suck at this, like a lot of characters.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
I mean, hey, if you are one of the poster childs of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you're literally the face of Nintendo. They can't give you a weakness. They gotta make you at least playable. And, I mean, he's been that way for most games. I mean, Kirby was too, except for I think it was Brawl.
You say at least playable, like he might not be very good, and yet we saw 0 to 100 combos for almost two of the three, and then a spike for the other.
Yeah, but I was mostly meaning like the entire history of Smash, because Smash 64 Mario was not very good, but he was still playable. So he's been playable for the entire history of Super Smash Bros.
He's always been playable because you can technically always play a character.
That's true. But if you want to win, you don't always pick him. But I mean, Doug Todd, he picked him and he won. So what do I know? I just sit here and yap.
We just yap. We do not know enough about this game. Well, to play at this level, I know enough about this game where I can play it.
Yeah.
But if I was in the chair with the controller, I would be getting launched before I even get my first combo off, not knowing any of the timings and skill sets that these players have. But one of the interesting things I remember hearing about this matchup that I think was very evident in this first one here was the Broncos trying to find a strategy in these blind picks that they were going to have to be making against their opponents here, as something with the duel format that we don't always talk about as much is the fact that you will have two matchups where you know who you're going up against and you get to counterpick, and the other times you get counterpicked. So in these matchups, these were opportunities where they were going to be, I believe, counterpicked. I think this would have been the blind on our side.
Actually, I believe that I heard the Rob from, I believe his name is Flats, and the Mario from Doug Todd are their primary blind picks. Those are the ones that they like to throw out. So that means Gokis was picked into it, and that most likely means that the Mario, Doug, knew exactly what was going on and knew how to counter.
And
you
that's
know,
exactly...
we kind of expect that out of such a high-level team, but given that experience, Gokis was still able to hold in there for just a little bit, just not quite enough to get that one stock.
Yeah, and something that the Broncos also have to anticipate is a almost David versus Goliath difference in character roster when it comes to the Broncos options versus this team. I mean, you and I were gawking at it earlier. The list of characters all of these players have played and are familiar with. Now, that doesn't necessarily like show a skill difference between two teams, but it does show an options difference.
I am counting 6 players on the list with 7+ character choices.
That's all they do. That's all they do is learn characters in Smash Bros. I don't know how you have time otherwise to know 7 characters. That's insane.
I don't even know 7 characters in Overwatch, and that's like my primary game with 3 different roles. Let alone 7 different characters in a fighting game that
in the
all have
ultimate
separate
version
play.
of the fighting game,
yeah,
too.
I know, right?
Yeah. No, and that presents a very interesting challenge. However, an also interesting opportunity that I'd love to call out now to see if it becomes a thing later. There are 4 players who play Steve on this roster. Now, we have our opinions on Steve, but we also have our Steve Slayer.
That's true. We do have a diamond in our pocket, as they say. We got Melfor, the Steve Slayer, the 2-stock Steve Slayer, always taking 2, always taking down Steves. He's the bane of every Steve player's night. He's the bane of every Steve player's existence. I'm sure the second they close their eyes, it's just like
Bowser in their face. And I mean, who would blame him? He has been increasing that track record of consistency throughout the season. Just another showcase of the growth the Broncos have had. But, you know, with a roster like that, you know, the Golden Gophers might want to watch out pulling out one of the most notorious characters in the game, or they might find themselves staring at a very angry red lizard.
Yeah, something that I would like to mention about Melfor, too, is that he's consistently put into not very great matchups for heavies, and he's still pulling out at least 2 stocks no matter what. And we're actually not going to see Melfor for a little bit. We are going into we're going to be seeing Mata first. I did not quite catch his opponent, though.
That was a Rob. I saw a Rob. So
that would be...
it was probably...
Flats. Flats the Rob. Yes. And Mata's going to be breaking out the Pikachu. We haven't seen the Pikachu in a while. They've been favoring the Greninja as of late, but I feel like Pikachu is a good pick. You're really quick, you hit really hard, and Rob does find himself getting juggled quite a bit, so it'll be interesting to see how Flats really comes out to handle.
Hey, electric types versus, you know, steel types. We know what that matchup.
Yeah,
we've got the matchup difference, you know, for our elemental typing here. And that's exactly how that actually reflects in game 2. The quick electricity tax versus Rob's powerful, not only utility in his top.
Steel does resist electric.
Shh, not if it's Ash's Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's not.
Well, Ash's Pikachu is basically a legendary, so that one doesn't count.
Well, we get to find out if Mata has been upgrading.
A little bit of a parry, manages to get him a little bit closer, however.
Oh,
the ground! was able to get burrowed, and unfortunately for Mata, that will be the first stock taken. However, Flat's at a significantly higher percent than we saw in the last game. So in a really good spot to take the kill. Oh, there we go!
Great grab!
Like clockwork.
Wow. I heard that. Anyway, jumping into this next brawl, Mata is showing no restraint here, trying to keep up the pressure. And on the ledge, both of these players have opportunities, but Pikachu, with that quick dodge, is able to get straight into the middle and start another combo.
Yep.
Getting the advantage on the damage so far against the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, luckily with Pikachu, you have a lot of different ways to approach every single engagement. You can't really cover all your bases, especially when Rob is giving Pikachu items to work with off the right side of the stage, is able to get back, but he's running out of boost, and a spike is going to take him down. Flats on his final stock, and Mata has only hit 30%. The Rob is getting trashed.
Ooh, Flats is trying to find some opportunities here, but the thunder off stage is going to be just the cherry on top there for this stock. However, gaining some composure, Golden Gophers are able to find an opportunity to hold Mata off stage, but not for long. This is going to flip the favor, though, but Mata does have an opportunity here. A little bit more room to work with on stocks, though. Keeping those points as close as possible is the name of the game here. Good shield to grab, and that is going to be a throw in kind for Minnesota.
Yeah, Rob's up to his up smash can hit from the sides too, so it makes it a really easy escape option out of shield. However, he was not able to get a good combo start, and Mata finding themselves back at 31% where they were when they took the last stock. However, looking at Flats' percentage, he's in a really dangerous spot. Mata looking to find something, and Flats is going to misread the laser. Not going to find it, but he is able to get back on stage. Good combos out of Mata are taking him right back off.
Mata needs to find one very strong attack, and Flats knows it. Getting a grab, trying to gain some momentum and throwing Mata into the air. Good shield is able to avoid any potential knockouts, but both are on the ropes here and need to find an opportunity. Luckily for Mata, picking the wrestler Pikachu. That's right where they want him.
That is what you want to see, to not let Rob play into his advantages in the air. He has a lot of really good aerial moves. However, the Pikachu is a little bit too small, a little bit too quick. Ash's Pikachu takes one more victim.
See, that's what I was talking about. The type matchups don't matter when it's Pikachu, because Pikachu just does what Pikachu wants.
That is true. If Pikachu can kill Brock's Onix in the game, and Onix is a ground type, he can probably do a whole lot more.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, the Broncos are going to bring the game much, much closer at this point. I think we have a 1-point difference now?
No. We have a 2-point difference.
2-point difference?
I believe it's 2 points. Yep.
Yeah,
because
still good spot to be in regardless.
Yeah, 'cause we'd be at 4 points for this game. We wouldn't have gotten any points last game. And they would have gotten 4 points last game. And then plus an extra 2. So we're...
Doing math, the most important part of the competitive play here is the math to keep it going. As we are getting ready for that next matchup, I do see a Melfor in the seat here.
He's in the hot seat.
In the hot seat, having to get ready to go up against his opponent. Now, Banjo or Bowser will be our two potential
I mean, we
characters.
saw the Pikachu out of Mata. We haven't seen the Pikachu in a while. We've been kind of focusing on
mixing it up a little bit.
So maybe, it's a mix-up to Banjo.
Ooh, but that is going to be the Bowser Jr.
Using the Wendy skin. Honestly, a good pick. Personally, I'm more of a Ludwig guy. But
and this is Grishok here for the Golden Gophers. From what we've heard, notoriously strong player for this team, so Melfor will have his work cut out for him here. Bowser Jr. has a lot of mobility as, sitting in their little cart. Why am I forgetting the name of it?
The clown car.
There we go, the clown car. It has just a lot of utility that you have to contend with, but luckily, we've got some grenades to throw back and forth here on the side of the Broncos.
Yeah, both of these characters are a lot more similar than what you'd think, having a lot of different projectile options and also hitting really hard up close. However, the Wonder Wing is going to be used early, trying to get back on stage, manages to get there, almost blows it, almost has a grenade blow up in his face, but Bowser Jr. just getting in really close. Grishok really looking to find something to start combos, getting a lot of good hits, just nothing really to finish him out. Melfor, on the other hand, still looking to find that advantage, still looking to find his in. Good parry
there.
On the platform, but what are those enemies called? I have a friend who knows Mario enemies, but unfortunately I do not have that knowledge on me, so I don't know the claptrap enemies, but I do see the grenades flying, and the Bowser Jr. not able to find much.
Yeah, that's okay, but the battle of the middle ground right now with all of the projectiles is what you have to pay attention to here. Whoever gets knocked away from that could be knocked out or knocked straight into the air. The Broncos taking the first stock, now having to do a little bit of a dance with danger here at 117%, but you know, Banjo's not alone here. I think noticeably this is a little bit more of a 2v2 than we were expecting. Normally I'd say Banjo has the advantage, but you know, Bowser Jr. does have the car and it is ready to go, both trying to find those opportunities here. Good explosion there from Melfor into a combo going to launch Bowser Jr. in the air, but the knockback from so much damage right now onto Banjo and Kazooie is going to create a lot more opportunities for the Golden Gophers for a potential knockout.
The bomb was laid!
Casualty!
The trap was set, and it was just enough to get the kill. Melfor is not too happy about that, though. Going for the Wonder Wing right off the rip. Grishok taking a lot of damage, and Melfor still able to evade the combo starting. Bowser Jr. not really able to find too much, and the Banjo-Kazooie continues to fight on. Lots of explosions being traded back and forth. The items being used a lot more against Grishok than Melfor, though. Oh, explosions coming through, traded out, 75 to 100. But he misses the recovery!
Oh, unfortunately trying to dodge the punish. There was not much that Melfor could do there, losing another stock. Now the Broncos need to find a way to take a win here and avoid a spike on ledge. Luckily, dodging away, but not finding that opportunity to get some revenge on Grishok there.
Yeah, no revenge is going to be found quite yet. Grishok taking quite a bit of damage. Manages to pick up the mine and throw it right at Melfor. Still sitting on 2 stocks. The ground is going to take a stock.
Spin to win for that stock, and at a somewhat not horrible, I guess, percentage say. It's always iffy when you're here. But yeah, I've seen worse disparities in these percentages, and Melfor is holding strong here with the resources, avoiding the clown car and just keeping Bowser Jr. in the air. That is the name of the game, and Melfor is the game master right now.
That is not what you want to see if you're Bowser Jr. You don't have a whole lot of stuff that you can do in the air except for your car and really your neutral air. You want to be on the ground and using some of those grounded moves, however, being stuck up in the air with explosions. However, a good aerial's going to come through, and Grishok takes down Melfor, but not before losing 2 stocks himself.
Which from what we've heard about Grishok as a player, is a really incredible showing from Melfor here. One of the players that had contended, if I remember, very well against the team, like the undefeated team. So really good showing from the Broncos and great showing from Grishok. We don't always get to see a Bowser Jr. around, but maybe that just means we need to see a revenge match where Dad comes out to show. Don't even let me finish mine. Okay, I see how it is. We're just escalating, but that's not the next matchup that we're going to be seeing. That might be our future, as for now, we do have Olimar going up against Dark Doge here.
Dark Doge? Who does Dark Doge play? He plays Yoshi.
This is the Yoshi player.
Versus Olimar. What?
Yeah.
We've seen Yoshi versus Olimar in the past, and I have spoken to Supersonic. It is not an amazing matchup, but he has done well in the past against it. It's going to be one of those matchups where you have to get around the Pikmin. You have to dodge the projectiles. You really have to avoid getting into close contact with Yoshi until that high percent and really messing up their day.
Yeah, and it can be hard because Yoshi is, I think, a little deceptive in how their moves work. You know, you think that, like, you know, Yoshi is like, oh, you know, they kind of hit pretty hard, so they might be slow. Yoshi can be pretty fast. They have a variety of tempo moves, so like they're not just stuck in like a slow tempo or a fast tempo. They will catch you off guard just by just how they roll around, and they have some defensive capabilities too. So in the past, the biggest thing is getting the Pikmin cycling started to find the right Pikmin to, you know, get some extra knockback, but it can be hard to continue that when Yoshi does have some answers against knocking out the Pikmin.
However, I will say there is a lot of pressure on Supersonic right now. We're currently at the final match. It's 3-3. Current score is 6-10. Boise sitting at 6, Minnesota sitting at 10. Supersonic needs to win in a 3-0 fashion against Dark Doge, and if he can't do that, then Minnesota takes the game. It's one of the things where the duel format really comes in, and this is where I really like it. It means that there is still victory even if you've lost 2 of your games. You can still win. You still have a really good shot to do it. It might be a long shot, however, a long shot is still a shot nonetheless. You just got to aim a little bit higher.
Yeah, the biggest thing always is just that added pressure, though, mentally. It's in a way, it's very similar to crew battles at the very end, where there is a score you've got to meet, and you have to try and achieve it. If you can't find it, it might be the end, but the fun of it is those high stakes and challenges that the teams both have to face going forward, because, the Golden Gophers might be in the advantageous spot here, but if they slip up too much, get a little too comfortable with that idea, then Supersonic can take it away from them.
Yeah, if they lose traction at all, they are going to be slipping and sliding all the way to the bank, and unfortunately, they're not going to be the ones cashing the check. It'll be Supersonic cashing that one, bringing it to overtime. We have not seen an overtime yet, which would be a 1v1 duel to determine the entire match, but it'd be cool to see today. Just putting it out there.
I've wanted to see the standoff for a while.
Dark Doge, if you could just SD 3 times, so that way we can see a
caster request. Yeah. We want to see.
Let me just DM him really quick. Dark Doge.
Throw? Question mark.
Yeah, just leave me on red. Why don't you?
Well, I don't know if we'll see that in an official matchup, but, Supersonic can also just do it the old-fashioned way by laying the smack down and taking the game as we get ready to jump into this matchup, both players ensuring they are having all of their inputs responding. We're going to see what could determine the win for the Golden Gophers for the first matchup, or if the Broncos might be able to hold strong till overtime. The Pikmin already flying back and forth here. Olimar trying to look for an opportunity and getting up close and personal with the Yoshi here.
Yeah, he is going to find a little bit of an opportunity to get some damage on. However, Yoshi doesn't have to work nearly as hard as Olimar to get that percentage. A lot of damage can be done in a little bit of time, as we're seeing with Supersonic right now. Already up to 55%, and just it's not looking really good for him. Dark Doge is doing a really good job at getting a ton of damage, and we're at 88%.
Great dodge!
We're already threatening the kill.
Great shield there, though, from Supersonic, seeing that potential attack and dodging it. Now needing to find some opportunities here. Purple Pikmin maturing with the flower will make it a lot stronger if Supersonic can find the hit off of it. But that does mean getting up close and personal and looking for that throw. Ooh. Dark Doge does not want to let that happen, but the damage is racking up. The Broncos able to keep pace with Yoshi right now, though. That was almost a knockout. Great movement control. This ledge could mean everything. And that is the knockout that Minnesota was looking for.
Yeah, now we just have to see what Supersonic's going to do for the rest of the time. Dark Doge in a little bit of a good spot to be taken down, but a spike. What a play out of Yoshi, being able to take him down incredibly.
Oh, there we go.
He's going to get his get back. He's going to find the stock in return.
What a quick knockout, and from middle, too. That is quite the powerful punch there from Olimar for that stock. And although still on the back foot here, does show, we're not going to go down without a fight despite the current score.
You might be purple, but my purple creatures are better than you purple creatures. So
Battle of the purple
grab
here.
is going to result in a lot of damage as he's taken down incredibly low, able to get back.
And the
He's brought this
spike!
game back. He might just win it here. Grishok, or not Grishok, it's Dark Doge, wrong username. But we are back to even, and percentages also reflecting that as well. Supersonic taking tons of damage, or doing a ton of damage to Dark Doge, and he's not really able to respond to any of it.
Ooh, and with that grab, that's going to be a throw off the side, and at 100%, Yoshi needs to watch out. Olimar is out for the knockout. This might not be the win for the Broncos, but this can be for the glory of finishing a matchup here. Yoshi is going to get the grab, try and get that knockout, and that is going to be the setup that Dark Doge needed to bring it there. But Broncos did not go down without a fight, so better watch out. Supersonic is not done just yet, and neither are the Broncos. The Golden Gophers are going to take the first matchup, but this is one of two.
Yeah, first round is going to be over, but that does not spell the end for the Broncos just yet, being able to bring it back so close. I do think what ended up getting them in the end was the inability to take any of Doug Todd's stocks, the Mario in the beginning.
That very early 0-3 can be such a brutal knockout, especially because you innately get 1 point for winning a game. So overall, it was a point difference of 4 that they had to slowly try to crawl back from, but losing stocks on the way just makes it, doesn't really change it unless you get a lot of wins. The Broncos did manage to find some, but just not as many as they would needed.
Well, also the fact that you get stocks, even regardless whether you win or lose, is also incredibly useful. If they would have gotten those 2 stocks, it would have been a little bit closer in the end. It would have been 10-10. If Doug Todd got brought down to 1, it would have been 10-10 in the very end, and it would have been a lot of less pressure on Supersonic to perform perfectly. And I think that is one of the things that could have been done a little bit better.
Yeah, I do want to commend the Broncos, though, for their hard-fought battles there. Despite taking some losses, they performed really well throughout those, and I think that was a really great showing from Supersonic with a character that he has struggled against in the past. So, as we get ready to see what could be match point of this matchup, we are going to go to a quick break, and then we'll be back with more Super Smash Bros.
My friends know me as Derek, but I'm also Master Sergeant Raxter. This is my life in the Air National Guard.
Home is where you hang your hat, snuggle up, hide out. Home is when you're with the ones you love. It isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home is Idaho. We grew up here, and we're proud to help more Idahoans with their home loan than any other financial institution. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe home is where you make it.
Let me show you what I got.
With the Dairy West Fueling Station, we really wanted to create a place that our players could come and be fueled and hydrated in a healthy way, fuel their minds, fuel their bodies so they can compete at the highest level. Dairy West has really allowed us to do that, and we're excited to see what this space turns into. This is only phase 1. There's many iterations to come. It's truly unique in college esports, and we're excited to see how that continues to evolve. We're really thankful for Dairy West's support and look forward to continue working with them.
Let me show you what I got.
It's me, your Idaho Central Credit Union app. Rough morning. Is that a mobile deposit? I got this. Beat it, Charlie. We're making money moves here. Cha-ching. And done.
Charlie, come on, outside.
Sorry about the mess. I'd help if I had hands. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great? Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Hello and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Broncos versus the Gold Gophers, Boise State versus Minnesota. So far, Minnesota has been able to take the first game, but not without a fight. Broncos holding strong against a variety of characters on their opposing team's roster and many different shenanigans to be avoiding. As we get ready to go into this matchup, our team is currently discussing and devising their plans to find what tricks they might be able to pull with the new information they've gained from these matchups. Calling all the action, my name is Audrey Norris with Bryce Jensen as we get to continue this matchup and see what might change for the teams, what the Broncos might be able to do to switch up their strategies here and adjust going forward.
Yeah, I'm going to steal your joke from the intermission period in that we were focusing a whole lot on the 4 Steves and not the 2 Yoshis that were sitting right in front of us, especially because it was actually Stitch and not Dark Doge who was playing in that game. So they were bamboozling us on more than one front because we don't even know which Yoshi was there. But I will say the Yoshi play was very unexpected out of this team. I mean, they have 2 of them, but you never really expect the Yoshi until they come out. I think the Broncos really struggled in that first game to gain the momentum. They started to claw it back towards the end, but they just had lost too much. They were on a little bit of the back foot and weren't quite able to get into the position to win the horse race. However, they're currently rounding corner 2. They still have a shot to get that second win, get it rolling into the final stretch. However, Minnesota is on a good track to win it outright because it is match point for them.
Be careful there. You might end up in one of our compilations trying to guess which state is which if you mix up Michigan and Minnesota again.
I'm glad that they don't have Missouri in there as well. Otherwise, I might be
We're
very
done for.
confused. Yeah. I mean, there's
triple
too many M states. I mean, I'm good with M&Ms. I'm good with Mike and Ike's.
But you're not good with M&M's?
I'm not good with M&M's. No, there's too many M's. It's too many.
Well, we'll have to see if maybe the onslaught of variety, well, not actually variety for the names within some of these states, but the variety within the roster can be overcome for the Broncos going into these next matchups. Now, speaking about the blind picks versus the previous picks, as well as the support that we have in the arena, I'm going to pause real quick and take a moment to call that out. You know, there is some Pikmin power in the arena once again to help Supersonic and the rest of the team as they get ready to go into the next round. But where I was going to go with that too was talking about the picks. The Broncos' strategy was definitely to kind of learn what they were going to be going into with the first matchup, especially in how they picked their blind picks the first time around, facing a variety of characters on the roster.
Yeah, I think that the opposition that they were expecting for the Mario was a little bit much. I do not think that Gokis was expecting to get run down that quickly. I could tell just by watching him that he was a little bit taken aback from it, and that it was a little bit odd. But it does look like we're going to be seeing Melfor and Flats going up first.
Yeah.
Little Banjo versus Rob, Robot versus Bear.
The Broncos choosing to shake it up with Banjo and Kazooie, you know, similar story. Lots of projectiles, lots of resource options, going up against a heavier character. Honestly, a matchup we don't get to see a lot, but one that I think could go either way depending on how the players choose to use their resources.
Yeah.
Melfor trying to find an opportunity, but, you know, they are looking to keep him off stage where he can't use his options as much and launch him into the air. Rob looking for those combos with the grabs.
Yeah, Rob really looking for that aerial play, but a Wonder Wing in the sky is almost going to take him down completely. Both players still sitting around even, but a laser is going to hit the bear, and that's just not going to keep him very, very low. However, both characters being heavy, you don't need a whole lot of attacks in order to bring yourself up to even. Both of these players still really just going at each other. I mean, both of them super even, but an aerial is going to take him down. And that is going to be it for
I mean, an ultimate
Rob.
slugfest back and forth is eventually going to result in a knockout, and we do see both of them taking a stock loss there, which unsurprising with just the comparable power output they have. Now trying to just go fisticuffs back and forth there. Melfor trying to find an opportunity, but is getting launched all the way, having to use a Wonder Wing to recover and avoid a punish. That is 2 out of the 5 down right off the bat for this stock.
Oh yeah, trying to grab the disc from the Rob, not really going to find it. Banjo and Kazooie still looking for their in this matchup. Just, they're really struggling to find those hits, and an aerial from Rob is going to take him down again. Grishok still sitting at 2. Or no, not Grishok. This is Flats. Flats sitting at 2.
They continue to befuddle us as we watch these matchups, but the Broncos are not going to get as thrown off as easily. Melfor still trying to find these opportunities for the stock, not deterred by the aerial prowess that Rob is showing. And the Golden Gophers do need to be careful here. We are refreshed on those Wonder Wings, but the lasers are still going back and forth here.
I'm a fire in my laser.
And they get into the ground.
Into the ground again, but the other person this time.
I threw him on the ground and into the air, but no knockouts either side.
That's not my dad. That's a cell phone. I threw it on the ground! And Rob is done. And I think that's going to be your unbottled play of the game, sponsored by Dairy Farm Families. Refuel, recover, repeat. Visit unbottled.com for more information. But you know who else maybe needs a little bit of milk? This Rob. I know he's got circuits instead of bones, but he is taking a beating from this bird.
Yeah, the bird and the bear are not holding back here. They are more than happy to rip and tear through Rob's, nice metal carapace here. The dangerous just prowess being shown. They have taken a play out of the Rob's book here, trying to keep those aerial attacks going forward here. Is going to be rough as we continue these matchups.
Yeah, Melfor really looking to close this one out. Both of them are actually in that position where they could be taken down by one good blow. However, no one's been able to find it. They've been playing really safely, but an aerial is going to take is going to push Banjo off the map, but able to get back. But now he's getting driven down. The pile driver is going to lead Rob to win the first round. Banjo and Kazooie, it has to be afraid of the OG Nintendo toy, and that is going to be it for round 1. Rob taking the first round.
A much closer matchup, though, than our previous round 1, showing that the Broncos have been able to learn a bit about what they are going up against and account for it in the matchups here. Now, as we get ready to go into our next matchups, we are, I think, going to continue to see some character switch-ups either side.
Yeah, from the looks of things, we're going to be seeing a Gokis versus Grishok. Not Banjo, I still have that on the brain. The Snake and Bowser Jr. So we're not going to see the father-son matchup that we were hoping. Unfortunately, Melfor didn't want to do it. But from the looks of things, we're going to see a little bit of a redemption arc for Gokis, or maybe a potential to sort of get his foot back in the game.
Yeah, let's see. Bowser Jr. against Snake. We previously saw Banjo and Kazooie, right? Projectiles against projectiles. Bowser Jr.'s projectiles are quite different, but now we're going to see that variety of projectiles just launching out from Snake. The biggest issue is going to be Bowser Jr.'s ability to remove space between them and their opponent by rushing forward in their clown car and then slamming you with a cannonball arm.
Yeah, this is all going to be about who can control space the best. I mean, that's obviously a given when it comes to Snake. However, it's going to be doubly important for Bowser Jr., a character that doesn't rely nearly as much on projectiles as Snake does and wants to get up in your face. Sure, you have the car, but it's really hard to run over somebody when you're driving through a whole bunch of explosives. It's like trying to roll a boulder through a minefield. You might be able to get there, but not before your boulder is reduced to a small pebble.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to keep your shield close in this matchup. Anytime Bowser Jr. gets close to Snake, Snake wants to be parrying if they can, but also just blocking the onslaught of attacks that we have seen in the previous matchup, how dangerous Grishok can be when they get going on their tempo, and that's the big thing, I think, is Snake is going to be a tempo disruptor, while Grishok on Bowser Jr. is all going to be focused on tempo keeping. So it's who can play, you said Banjo on the brain, but who can play the music the best right now for this matchup.
Yeah, which one will the battle of G's, Gokis and Grishok? Who will come out on top? But I do think that Gokis is going to have a small advantage coming into this. A lot more projectiles to work with, a lot tankier of a character. Bowser Jr. is really good at closing the space, really good at getting a lot of the damage, and overall just getting chip damage. However, Snake is significantly better at it than Bowser Jr. is. Plus, you hit incredibly hard, just punishing almost any mistake that you can make. Not to mention you have a pretty good recovery. You're all around a fairly good character. You may not be able to juggle as well as some other characters in the game. However, you can do a whole lot with the materials you have. It's all going to be up to Bowser Jr. to close that distance. Get up in Goki's face.
Bowser Jr. just makes me anxious, like playing against them or watching them play. They are so deceptively fast, and so it can really throw you off. But the Broncos have seen how Grishok plays, so Gokis is prepared and knows what they're going to be going up against. Jumping right into the matchup here, both of them are going to be trying to find those opportunities in the middle. Grishok might not want to immediately run up, but definitely look for those angles here, as Gokis just wants to keep comfortable at a distance, using those grenades to their advantage. And actually, one thing that will be interesting is it is going to be a cannonball halter, as you know, any projectile can prevent it from gaining as much momentum, and these platforms here to avoid the clown car rushing towards you. We see the back and forth here already staying a similar percentage, as Gokis has been able to avoid some of the heaviest hitting attacks.
Yeah, he's almost baiting Bowser Jr. into coming forward with that C4 being really close to him. Already just showing a lot of board control, not really letting him do not really letting Grishok get any sort of momentum, but he's going to blow up on his own C4, and that's going to be quite a bit of damage. However, Grishok isn't really able to capitalize on it. The read goes wrong, read to the roll, but Gokis goes high, but he's not going to stop the grab, and Bowser Jr. finds themselves in a really good position to keep this ball rolling in their favor.
Yeah, now having to find the ledge recovery, which not typically an issue for Gokis, but this time it is, as being in the air is a danger, and Grishok is able to take the first stock for the Gophers.
Yeah, Goki's looking to find the little bit of an even out, but he's going to wait a little bit too long on that grenade, lets it cook a little bit too long, and unfortunately it burns him in more ways than one because it explodes in a fireball. Oh, Grishok going to try and find the grab, manages to get it, but misses the C4! Big launch, unfortunately not quite enough as grenades continue to fly. C4 is right back where it started, as Grishok needs to make yet another approach.
Ooh, and instead of Grishok getting that approach, Gokis is going to take the initiative, launching them away, but now getting thrown off the side, not deterred by that ledge punishment, and able to capitalize on that opportunity. Holding strong at 140% though. The Gophers need to find an opportunity, but they're denied.
Denied. Credit card transaction denied. You are late on your payment, and unfortunately that payment is in stock, so Grishok is going to go down to 2. Goki's already looking in a little bit better position than he was last time, especially with that grenade going off, giving himself a little bit of space. Looking to set up his C4 once again. Doesn't really find a good opportunity. Grenades continue to go. Already blows up the C4, setting it on the ledge, looking for, anticipating the ledge trap. He knows it's going to come, but the clown car with the C4 is almost going to take him off the stage.
Luckily able to hold strong there, but this grab could be a knockout. Not strong enough though. Could have been an ender. We've seen a lot of grabs be like that. And all these explosions trying to keep Gokis around, but at almost 170%, that is going to be another knockout. But the Broncos still have one more stock, and they've got some business to finish here with 2 stocks left for the Golden Gophers.
Hey, overstayed his welcome just a little bit too long in the air, and it led to the perfect time to really unleash his trap. Gokis, though, still in a good position to take at least 2 stocks before this match is over. We're already seeing a lot of grenades fly, and C4 is still
friendly
up.
Fire.
C4 is still up. Can still use it. Grishok needs to be careful. He's in a good spot to be taken. Barely misses the ledge.
Wait, opportunity here.
Right back.
Oh my, wait. Ooh, a little bit of panic from both sides there, not able to fully figure out what grab or attack was going to go through, but ultimately able to both get out. However, Grishok has taken some punishment at this point, avoiding the attack, getting knocked off the ledge again. Gokis needs to find an opportunity here, sees the clown car, and dodges the explosion using some good old invincibility frames.
Why does the car have a tongue?
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. It's fine.
Is it alive? Does it need the tongue?
Did you not hear me allude to it being a 2v2, Banjo and Kazooie versus Bowser Jr. earlier? Yeah.
But it's a car. It doesn't need a tongue, but it might need a tongue to to taste that stock just taken right away from it. But we could save that conversation for another time. Goki's finding himself at almost 100%, still in a decent enough spot. They're at the same percentage, they're at the same stock rate. However, Grishok in a
quite the mountain to climb here at 95 for Goki's. Grishok, you know, preferring a little bit more of the range game here, but is getting zoned out. You know, the Broncos holding strong, having just more options than Grishok does here. Gophers trying to find that opportunity, go in for that melee, and they are denied. Goki's wiser to their tricks at this point.
Yeah, you can see the wisdom forming in the Snake's head. You know, Snake stores all of his wisdom in his bandana. But unfortunately, there's not enough wisdom to avoid a ton of it. And the shield break, but he misses! He doesn't miss a second time, though. That's going to be the third stock. Grishok puts himself firmly in the lead. Minnesota taking it up to 8.
So close. He missed so far away at the same time.
He missed the first one, and I thought he'd have just enough time.
Just enough time.
But no, he had enough time to get the second, and it was so close. That would have been hilarious if he missed the easy kill with the shield break.
Right?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Wow. Shield breaks are always that moment of panic because they're almost
Is that
like
a Sonic
guaranteed.
I see?
Yep.
That
I
is
was
a
going to say there does seem to be, you know, I alluded to it earlier, there might be some new characters on the wind, and we might be seeing someone choosing to live up to their namesake tonight.
Also, I see a different, I see another one. I see a Donkey Kong.
See a DK?
We are DK Gaming.
DK?
Doug Todd, Donkey Kong.
I tried to start the
If
song
only,
twice, and you denied me. I see how it is.
If only Diamond Dog were here, she would have the time of her life seeing the Donkey Kong in play.
Well,
but
do you get to see?
This will be fun. A Sonic versus Donkey Kong. You have a really heavy bruiser who's not super quick, and a guy who does a little bit of damage.
Complete opposite spectrum of fighters here.
Honestly, it's all going to be about who gets the most hits. Because if Donkey Kong gets more hits, it's an automatic win. However, Sonic gets a lot more. You just can't get around him. I mean, if you're too slow, what are you going to do?
Just don't be too slow.
Yeah, just speed up. Keep up.
Gotta go fast, you know? That's the rule. But no, I think we do need to truly highlight, though, this moment. Supersonic is choosing to pull out the namesake here for the first time in the PEC season, as far as I'm aware. And it is time, it sounds like, to go Supersonic as far as I can hear in the background. So this is the match to watch. Donkey Kong versus Supersonic on Sonic here. Unfortunately, we might not get to see the Supersonic itself. We don't use the ultimates, unfortunately, but
yeah, we should have ultimates in the game. I think
we'll get a very, you know, like in our hearts moment for Supersonic here as we get ready to go. We know what's truly going to be happening, and you know, the Pikmin might be here, you know, to represent as the Pikmin, but you know, they'll support their team regardless of who plays.
DK. Donkey Kong. DK. I know I shouldn't be silently cheering for DK because I mean Supersonic is our player, but I would not be
You're
mad
allowed to, you know, comment.
I would
It's
not
all right.
be mad
You
if the Donkey Kong ended up taking the day because I love Donkey Kong.
It's okay. You're allowed to have favorites, and you're allowed to be wrong.
That's fair.
As we get into the matchup here, Supersonic versus Doug Todd, pulling up a very different character for this matchup here. Like you mentioned, it is going to be the battle of hits. Who can get more in? Both of these characters want to brawl, but luckily one advantage that Sonic does have is the targeting attack that will help quite a bit against dealing with those ground pound attacks that Donkey Kong has that can be pretty powerful, but you do have to be careful
of the
spike! And that is going to be a pretty rough knockout for the Broncos in this matchup.
Yeah, Sonic has a lot of attacks that can pass through opponents. However, he is incredibly light. A good attack from him, though, is going to take Donkey Kong off the stage. Good recovery at Supersonic brings him right back onto the field. However, it seems like he's still playing on the back foot. Doug Todd still looking to find that one hit that's going to give him the advantage here. Needs to find a way to push it. However, at 125%, he's probably not going to find it in this lifetime.
Yeah, the Broncos know about that spike and want to avoid it if they can. Trying to find some good targeting attacks. Going off the ledge could be dangerous.
What was
and
that?
Unfortunately, I think that knockback there is going to be a knockout for Sonic. The light character difference is going to hurt there as DK is just holding strong at 174.
Yeah, good attacks out of DK is going to be good, but an up smash from Sonic is going to find the first stock for Boise State in this matchup. Broncos still looking for their shot to get one up on the Gophers. Tries to go in with the down special, but Sonic can't really get through the shield. That's one of his really big weaknesses, not really being able to get through that shield, not having a lot of good out of shield options. However, if Donkey Kong isn't going to shield, he's going to take advantage of that. Tons of damage being taken. I can't tell if that was a spot dodge or an emote, but no matter what, Todd is looking for the smoke.
Ooh, but not finding it yet. Todd getting kind of thrown around, targeted attacks, and just rolling around at the speed of sound. Supersonic is finding some opportunities to just deny that. Going to get slapped into the air, which we've seen this dangerous position here at the ledge.
And he missed it!
And it is going to be the fatal knockout here. Unfortunately, Sonic just not having the recovery to get past Donkey Kong there.
So, with the end of this match, Boise State finds himself at 5 points to Minnesota's 12. Minnesota is going to win this one way or another. However, Mata is going to be bringing out a character that we have not seen in a while, that being Richter. And it's also, let me check my cheat sheet here. I have some confidential data. Yep,
You know,
from the looks of things, we are going to be seeing one of our least favorite characters come out.
after the Steve Slayer is gone.
They were scared.
They were too scared. They couldn't face him at the beginning, so they had to go all the way to the end so they could have a breathing moment. But that's okay. As you know, we can't win the war right now, but we can win the battle. Does Minnesota get to go out in style, or do they get trounced?
I think it'll be the other way around, because it's the war on Steve that we're really fighting for.
That's so true.
Yeah. We need to get him banned from the PEC. I mean, he's banned from a lot of other things, so like, might as well just round it out. Get him out of here. He's not fun to watch. And
all right.
Sucks to suck.
All right. Let me correct the statement and allow myself to set up the hype once more. We may or may not win this battle, but we can win the war. The war on Steve. They might crown a new Steve Slayer tonight. And I do think that a character like Richter has the potential for that, just having some really, really scary abilities in his kit. The axe, the holy water, the chain whip.
The power of Christ compels you. Get off of Steve. Play a character that makes sense.
The big thing, of course, for this matchup is going to be the wall, but Richter, once getting past that, has attacks that do rival a lot of the damage that Steve can output, and combos similar to the nasty combos that you can see off of Steve, just not as many of them. Whereas, you know, Steve likes to trap you in a grab and throw you into a magma blocker, get an anvil off. An axe plus the fire from the holy water is just as potent if set up, and we do know Mata has the capability to set those up.
Yeah, not to mention that the whip is a kind of a sleeper option when it comes to poking moves. It does a lot more damage than what you'd expect. Hits a lot farther than what you'd expect. And Steve, no one's going easy on you. No one's going to do it. They're not going to. Oh wait, I believe we were just in a button check, but that isn't very odd. What is he doing?
Avoiding the holy water?
Maybe. But you can't gain materials from there. And he's just kind of giving Mata a lot of opportunity to... Oh, wait, no, you can get materials from your own block. That doesn't make any sense.
New tech I just learned and am perturbed by deeply here, but, you know, still taking quite a bit of damage to Mata not having any, which I feel like giving Mata any damage percentage against you is so dangerous, as we're already seeing the absolute knockback that just the Broncos are delivering to this Steve here.
Yeah, Mata has yet to take any damage whatsoever. Steve also not in a great spot, manages to get his crafting table back, gets the iron sword, but he's out of materials, finds the diamond, but he's away from his crafting table. If Mata can keep him away, then that means there's nothing else that he can do, especially because Steve is really relying on his... Wait, you can... I did not know you could grab the holy water as an item. I didn't know that. Learning a lot of stuff
Learning
today.
new things today. Regardless, though, it is a potent way to deal with some of Richter's stuff. However, it might not be enough with Minnesota Gophers at 111% and running low on blocks. They're going to have to go head-to-head here with Mata, which never a good thing when you have to run straight into a powerful monster slayer such as Richter here.
Hey, if he can kill vampires, he can probably take out an 8-bit wonder, and he's not going to have enough bits to survive that one. He does get his diamond tools, but at the cost of a stock, was it really worth it? Especially for unenchanted ones, too. I mean, personally, I've seen people pay up to 8 diamonds on servers for those things, and he's just not able to find a whole lot with his shiny new tools.
It's not the tools, but how they are used that really matters, and so far, Steve has not found a lot of places to actually hit Richter where it hurts, and Mata is perfectly content with that, using all of their advantage. Does get a parry off, feeling pretty good about that, and then gets instantly hit just with the onslaught of attacks that Mata is continuing. Grishok looking to go for a recovery. Not Grishok, sorry. Going for a... Yeah, I love the one... I will say, Steve having that one recovery that can go below the stage is crazy, and it is kind of funny to see, able to avoid the ledge trap, but not for long, as they are going to get knocked off the stage once more.
Oh yeah, the Morning Star proves to be a very effective weapon, as Steve only just barely manages to dodge the axe. High is in a good spot to kind of take over, but he's just not able to find anything. Steve needs to get in and be able to start that combo, but an axe to the face, proven why it's the best melee weapon in Minecraft. And, I mean, you can fight me over it, but I mean, it's the best Minecraft weapon. So
I mean, it seems to be working out for Richter, so I'm not going to fight you on that one here, as back to the ledge, as we've seen many times before.
Is Mata going to 3-stock him?
There is a chance. It does look like, you know, we were talking about, you know, not necessarily winning the battle, but winning the war here, and, you know, in fashionable manner, Mata is looking for that 3-stock, trying to find an opportunity here. Minnesota is trying to find that stock. You know, Richter looks dead to rights, but Mata does not want to let that happen.
Yeah, Mata still looking to find a good opener. Already got Steve up to 80%, which is where you want to be. You hit really hard, but you need to be able to hit those shots. High doing a lot better job at shielding off a lot of the poke damage from the crosses and the axes, as well as avoiding the holy water as well. Mata able to get back onto stage, reads the
the minecart!
He's going to live! He might go down, and High barely makes it back to the stage. So the 3-stock is off the table, but I think it is a very good opportunity for Mata to take this final stock here.
Yeah, one good hit could be the starter combo for the downfall here. High trying to find some way off ledge. We've seen how this can go, though going to try and go all the way around. Mata expects that, throwing out the fire once more and looking for that whip, launching Steve into the air and then going for the axe. Great read there, but it is not going to save Minnesota from that knockout. So, although the Gophers are going to win the overall matchup, the Broncos are able to get the last word in. And I think that just goes to show the growth and the resilience of the team, holding strong until the end and not just letting that be a nothing match because it didn't matter. It still mattered in the end to showcase the skills and just awesomeness that the team can pull off continuing this season.
Yeah, Boise continues to improve its reputation of not letting Steves play in this house, and honestly, it's a reputation that we need to keep upholding.
You know, if we have to say that our title, you know, being we aren't always going to be the undefeated ones, but we are going to defeat Steve, I will take it.
No Steves allowed.
No Steves allowed, not in this house. And as we get ready to continue forward, we will, I'm sure, see plenty of Steve matchups to continue to show that not just Melfor, but this this entire team is Steve Slayers.
Yes, and honestly, I can't wait to see it. We saw a lot of growth in this matchup. It did not quite go the way of the Broncos. However, putting up that good a performance, they still won a lot of the rounds in there, just not quite enough. They didn't quite take enough stocks in their losses in order to keep it as close as they needed it to be. Yeah. I think that growth has been shown in this matchup, and it gives me a lot of confidence for Ohio State next week.
Yeah, especially, you know, keeping in account that Minnesota is the third best team in the league right now. So being able to hold strong that long shows a lot of great potential for the Broncos. And as you mentioned, for the next matchup, which is a matchup where we will have the advantage of a win off of our previous team here having one more win than they do in the season. So as we get ready to go into that, I'm excited to see where these matchups continue. This is the last part of the fall season, so these are going to be some awesome matches to watch as we get ready to stake our claim for the rest of the season going into spring and get ready for those tournaments. So definitely want to keep watching not only Smash Bros, but the rest of the games that we will have week to week. So thank you for joining us, and have a great night as we will leave you with the top 5 plays of the game, and we'll see you next week. Getting